Moby Dick. The infamous white whale is the antagonist of Herman Melville's novel Moby Dick, a tale of obsession and doom. A vast, unknowable force of nature, Moby Dick is indifferent to human hatred, immune to human will. To Captain Ahab, however, he is no mere beast. He is a leg-stealing agent of evil, a force that must be conquered. Ahab has made it his life's mission to hunt the whale that took his leg. He cannot accept that it was all meaningless. He becomes consumed with the need to impose purpose onto his suffering. But Moby Dick is not cruel. He is not vengeful. He is simply a creature devoid of malice or intent, incapable of good or evil. It is Ahab's tragic flaw that he believes otherwise. His crew follows him, bound by duty, greed, and superstition, unaware that their voyage is a death march. The Pequod crosses paths with other whaling ships, each with its own grim tale of the white whale. Warnings come in many forms, stories of ruined ships and madmen who claim that the white whale is a divine force. However, Ahab does not listen. He cannot listen. Then, at last, Moby Dick emerges from the depths. The chase lasts 3 days. The crew perishes one by one. But on the final day, Ahab throws his harpoon. It strikes. But the rope coils around his neck, a sudden pull. And Ahab is gone, dragged down into the abyss, claimed by the very thing he sought to destroy. When the ocean stills, only Moby Dick remains. The sea is unchanged, unmoved. Man is gone, and nature endures. Raymond Lamorne. Raymond Lamorne is the antagonist of the novel The Vanishing, written by Tim Crabbe. Lamorne is a family man, a chemistry professor, and a psychopath driven by curiosity. After saving a drowning girl's life, he begins to wonder if he's capable of great goodness. Is he also capable of an act of pure evil? He does the only rational thing, and starts meticulously planning the perfect crime. Rex and Saskia, a young couple in love, stops at a highway rest stop during their vacation. Saskia goes inside, and she never comes back. She simply vanishes. Rex dedicates the next 8 years of his life to search for her, refusing to move on. One evening, Rex is approached by Raymond, impressed by his determination. Raymond offers Rex the truth, but only if Rex agrees to undergo the same ordeal that Saskia suffered. Desperate for closure, Rex accepts. He drinks the drugged coffee offered by Raymond and wakes up in the magical lands of Skyrim. Nah, I'm just kidding. Rex wakes up buried alive in a coffin. As the dirt suffocates him, he imagines finally being reunited with Saskia, trapped together in the endless void of her childhood nightmare. 2 golden orbs lost in the dark. The world never learns what happened to them, and Lamorne's experiment is complete. Raymond wins by proving to himself that he is indeed capable of great evil, and can commit it without consequence or remorse. Leonard Shelby. In the movie Memento, Leonard suffers from anterograde amnesia. He cannot form new memories. Ever since a brutal attack left his wife dead and his mind shattered, he has been on a relentless hunt for her killer, John G. To compensate for his condition, he tattoos clues onto his body, takes Polaroid photos, and leaves himself notes, all in an effort to stay on track. But by the film's twisted ending, which is really the beginning, we learn the horrifying truth. Leonard already killed the real John G. long ago. His mission should be over, and yet the true tragedy runs even deeper. His wife wasn't murdered in the attack. She survived. The real cause of her death? Leonard himself. In a cruel irony, he accidentally gave her a fatal overdose of insulin, unknowingly fulfilling the very crime he claims to avenge. Faced with this unbearable truth, Leonard erases it. When Teddy, a corrupt cop, tries to reveal the reality of his situation, Leonard makes a choice. Not to confront his past, but to rewrite it. He plants a false clue, framing Teddy as John G., so that his future self will have someone to hunt. Leonard wins, not by finding justice, but by ensuring that he never has to face the truth. If that means he have to take out Teddy, then so be it. Uncut gems. Howard Ratner, a jeweler in New York's Diamond District, isn't undone by a single villain. His downfall is self-inflicted. His true adversary is ludomania, a relentless addiction to the rush. He owes money to loan sharks, cheats on his wife, and makes reckless bets with money he doesn't have. He believes a rare Ethiopian black opal will be his salvation, his big break. But the opal is a false hope. It's worth far less than he imagined. Forced to sell it at a loss to NBA star Kevin Garnett, Howard finally has the money to pay off his debts. Instead, he gambles it all yet again. Howard places an absurdly risky bet on Garnett's next game, convinced fate is finally on his side. He locks the loan sharks in his store's security doors, forcing them to watch. And against all odds, Howard wins. The impossible actually happens. Howard is saved, his gamble paid off, and he can now pay back the loan sharks with interest and still have some extra money on the side. But it doesn't matter, because the real bet, the one he didn't even realize he was making, was that a hired thug would react rationally to being locked inside a bulletproof closet for the length of an NBA game. The moment he releases the security doors, the loan shark enforcer shoots him in the head out of pure frustration. He was absolutely done dealing with Howard. Howard's past mistakes caught up to him long before the bet was placed. And that's the cruel irony of Uncut Gems. Howard didn't lose because of bad luck. He lost because he never knew when to stop. The addiction won the moment he placed his first bet. The Harga. Danny Ardor begins Midsummer at her lowest point. Her family is dead. Her boyfriend Christian finds her grief annoying and is searching for a way out. Danny has nowhere to belong. When Danny joins Christian and his friends on a trip to Sweden, she unknowingly steps into the Horga's world, a place built on ritual, sacrifice, and community. The Horga's festival is not just a celebration, it is a cycle of life and death. Elders sacrifice themselves to make way for the young. Outsiders, lured in by charm and hospitality, serve as necessary blood sacrifices to keep the commune thriving. One by one, Danny's group is dismantled. Josh and Mark vanishes, and Christian is manipulated, drugged, and humiliated. But Danny? She is given exactly what she has always craved: a family, a place to belong. By the final ritual, Danny is no longer an outsider. She is the May Queen, adorned in flowers, exalted by the community. And she is given a choice: sacrifice a cult member or Christian. Christian, the selfish, emotionally detached man who takes but never gives, is dressed in the skin of a bear, a symbol of the beast. And as she watches her useless, cheating boyfriend whimper in terror, she makes her decision. Christian burns, while Danny smiles. The outsiders are gone. Now there is only the Horga. Carlton Bloom. Carlton Bloom is the main antagonist of the first Black Mirror episode, The National Anthem. He was a controversial artist, his work shut down by public outrage for being too obscene. In response, he orchestrated his most horrifying masterpiece. By kidnapping Princess Susanna, Bloom forced the British Prime Minister into an impossible choice: commit an act of ultimate humiliation by having intercourse with a pig on live television, or refuse and let Susanna die. The government attempts to cheat Bloom with deepfake forgeries and military raids. But it was all anticipated. Bloom controls everything. To drive the point home, he sent what appeared to be Susanna's severed finger, a grim warning that the stakes were real. As the clock ran out, the Prime Minister did what he swore he never would. 1.3 billion people watched. And then, the final reveal. Bloom had already released Susanna before the broadcast, proving it was never about her life. It was about exposing the public's hypocrisy. He left no manifesto, just a hanged body and a silent message. This was art. The public pretended to be disgusted by the obscene, yet they loved it. Surprisingly, the Prime Minister scored higher approval ratings than ever. His wife, however, did not approve. Alejandro Sosa. Tony Montana, the protagonist of Scarface, is loud, violent, and hungry for power. But Alejandro Sosa is the one who actually owns the game. While Tony fights tooth and nail to climb the ranks, Sosa was born at the top. The contrast between them is stark. Tony is a poor Cuban immigrant, barely literate, speaking in a thick accent, clawing his way up from nothing. Sosa, on the other hand, is a wealthy Bolivian aristocrat, educated in England, polished and well-spoken. Tony is brute force. Sosa is precision. When they first meet, Sosa recognizes Tony's strengths. He's ambitious and fearless. But he also recognizes his fatal flaws. He's impulsive, reckless, and driven by ego. Sosa exploits this, using Tony as a disposable asset to move massive amounts of cocaine into the U.S. Tony promises not to betray Sosa, but when Tony betrays him by refusing to assassinate a journalist, Sosa acts accordingly. Tony, drowning in paranoia and cocaine, never sees it coming. In one night, his entire empire collapses. His fortune, his power, his life, all gone. And Sosa? He wins. He never gets arrested. He never faces consequences. Tony was just another pawn who thought he could be king. The world was never Tony's. It was always Sosa's. Thanos. The Mad Titan doesn't just seek power. He seeks balance. In Avengers Infinity War, the antagonist, Thanos, is not just a mindless conqueror, but a calculated force of destruction, driven by a belief that only he has the will to do what must be done. Overpopulation and scarcity, in his eyes, have doomed the universe. His solution? Wipe out half of all life, randomly and without bias, ensuring prosperity for those who remain. The Avengers fight with everything they have. But Thanos is always a step ahead. He outmaneuvers, outsmarts, and ultimately outlasts them. He sacrifices Gamora, his own daughter, for the Soul Stone, overpowers Earth's mightiest heroes, and in the film's most haunting moment, silences their last hope with a single snap of his fingers. And then, victory. The dust settles, and half of existence is gone. Thanos watches the sun rise over a grateful universe. No speeches, no gloating. Just the quiet satisfaction of a mission fulfilled. And yes, Thanos loses in Endgame, but only because the Avengers pulls a Deus Ex Machina, inventing time travel to undo his work. That doesn't change the fact that in Infinity War, Thanos wins.